is Steve from Flipping the Nerd, and this is my top 10 favorite Harry Potter characters. I am a huge fan of the Harry Potter franchise. I like to go to the Wizarding World every single year at Universal Studios Orlando, and I watch the series of movies at least once a year. I'm actually going through a rewatch right now, even though I had this list ready for 2 months now, but going through the rewatch is just bringing back all the stuff I love about this franchise. Now, this list is strictly based on the movies. I have not read the books, so if some of the characters are not the same in the book, it's irrelevant to this particular list. So these are my top 10 favorites in the Harry Potter franchise. This is only the 8 Harry Potter films. It does not include the Fantastic Beasts series, which is also pretty good. So a couple honorable mentions. The first one is Professor McGonagall. She is the house leader of Gryffindor. I feel that Professor McGonagall, again, in the movies, had too much of a limited role. She seems like a really powerful, really awesome wizard, and they don't really show it. And that's kind of disappointing, and that's why she's only an honorable mention. I think she should have been one of the really main witches, that should have been in this franchise, and she really wasn't. She was relegated to very much a side character, and that was disappointing. We never really got to see what she could do, and I do have a feeling that there's a lot there. So, unfortunately, she didn't make my top 10, but I definitely had to mention her. Then we have Dobby, the house elf. He's just hilarious. He's awesome. I particularly love his appearance in the last movies, even though it didn't end too well for him. I just like this character. I mean, there's no other reason that I find him hilarious, and he's a little bit cheeky, and he's awesome. I don't know really what to say about it, but I enjoy his presence very much. Then we have Professor Lupin. This is one of my favorite professors that Harry goes to in the series. He's got an interesting arc, being an animagus, I think is what they call him. It's kind of like a werewolf. And I just like his relationship with Harry. I like kind of his level-headedness and just everything that he offers in the series. He was definitely one of my favorite professors in the series just because of his teaching style, and he's got kind of a funny side to him, and he also kind of respects Harry, and it's just I really like that relationship. So yeah, definitely had to be an honorable mention. Then we have Fred and George Weasley. They're both really the same, so I put them together. Just they are the comic relief as far as I'm concerned. I enjoy all of their scenes in every movie. They're really, really funny, and I like their arc as well, where at the end they do get a little serious because the movie and the situation warrants it. And by far, spoiler alert, Fred's death is the one that hurt me the most in this series. I was really bummed to see such a cool duo broken up over such a senseless act by the bad guys, the Death Eaters. So Fred and George Weasley, definitely a mention. And finally, he was on my list until I wrote down the list today. I don't know why, but Ron Weasley, one of the 3 main characters. I really liked Ron early on, like in the first film, but I never really enjoyed where he went later. I find him kind of a nuisance. Hermione and Harry were a great duo and could have done a lot of this stuff on their own, and Ron was kind of just there. And for that reason, I couldn't put him on the list, but I had to at least mention him because he is one of the 3 main characters. It's just, I don't know, I always felt he was just the third wheel and really didn't deserve to be part of that group, especially next to Hermione and Harry. So those are my honorable mentions. Let's get into the top 10. Number 10. Bellatrix Lestrange. I really love this character because of how absolutely insane she is. I like horror, obviously, and I just like characters who are unhinged and unpredictable, and that's Bellatrix Lestrange in in a bubble. She doesn't have much to do. She is there a lot in the kind of later films, but I feel that there could be a whole story about her as the villain, but she's always kind of under Voldemort's shadow, and that's unfortunate. But we do get to see her enough that I can enjoy her performance and her story. So I would have liked to see more Bellatrix, but for what we got, worthy of a spot on my list. Number 9, Harry Potter, the namesake of the series. I like Harry. He's a great character. There is a huge development, obviously, from the first film to the last one. But I just don't find him all that interesting. Enough to be on the top 10, but not enough to be, high on the list. Just something about him that always rubbed me the wrong way. He was such a nice boy in the first one, and then he came in kind of a dick as the series went on. And I get it. He's got a lot of responsibility. He's got unwanted fame. It's just, there's a lot that this kid has to deal with. But I just never really connected with him as much as I should have. But regardless of all that, I do enjoy seeing him on screen, and I do think he deserved a spot, at least on the top 10, at number 9. Number 8, Mad-Eye Moody. Mad-Eye Moody is kind of the Bellatrix Lestrange on the other side. Completely unhinged, absolutely crazy, unpredictable, and I really like his storyline, especially in the Goblet of Fire, which is ironic because it's not even really him. Do we even know what Mad-Eye Moody is really like? Because it's not Mad-Eye Moody in Goblet of Fire. It's someone else pretending to be him. So is he that cool character that I really like and enjoy watching? Or is he, more toned down that we saw? And I always wondered about that. So maybe people who read the books let me know. But I do enjoy him very much. And he's a great character. You don't know what he's going to do. And you feel his history. A lot of the characters, I found that you don't really know what they were about. And even though we don't know a lot about Mad-Eye Moody, this guy has seen some stuff. And that's why I really enjoy him and needed a spot on the list. Number 7, Hagrid. The lovable oaf Hagrid. I just enjoy how lovable and nice he is. He's really a nice character to have in this series. Somebody who, just really cares for people, cares for animals, doesn't really change in any way in that regard. Even as the world gets bad, he still remains the same way. I love his relationship with the 3 kids, how he's kind of a friend / mentor and somebody who really looks out for them when he doesn't really have to. There's a billion kids at the school, but he does look out for them, and someone like him was really required for this series, and I'm glad that it was him because he's just a fun character to have around, and that's why I put him on the list. Number 6, Luna Lovegood. Chalk this in the characters who should have got more screen time because I absolutely love Luna Lovegood. Am I the only one that wanted her to be with Harry and not Ginny Weasley, who I'm not even on the list? I really love Luna Lovegood. She's very different. She's colorful. She's really cool and nice, and she's the kind of person I would have liked to hang out with had I been at that school. And I really, really was hoping that she would fall for Harry. She had this weird connection with him that nobody else had. And I always felt the Ginny storyline, the Ginny storyline was forced in, at least in the movies. It just didn't work for me. I never liked that relationship, and I always hoped that Luna was the person for him. But outside of her relationship with Harry, I also thought she was a really interesting character. She had an interesting storyline. She sees things. She acts differently than everybody, and it made it for a compelling character. And that's why she needed a spot on the list. Number 5, Hermione Granger, my favorite of the three main kids. I think Hermione is the one that really kind of brought this team together all the way to the end. She's really the hero of this story. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I think she's more of a hero than Harry Potter was. Harry Potter was a hero by circumstance, whereas Hermione was just amazing from the get-go. She's the smartest one of the three. She's the one with the best ideas. And I think she's really the star of this entire franchise, as far as I'm concerned. And I've always felt that way. So I really like Hermione. She's bringing these two friends along the whole way, and it's really her storyline, and that's why I put her on my list. Number 4. Sirius Black. Harry Potter's uncle, not quite uncle, what is he? He's a godfather. Harry Potter's godfather. This guy seems like the nicest guy in the world, which is funny because in the first movie you see him in the prison of Azkaban, he's the crazy guy that they're kind of hunting throughout the whole series. I just love how this character is so caring and cares so deeply for Harry Potter and his parents at the time. And it really bummed me out that they killed him off in the 5th movie, and that just, like, it broke my heart, because it would have been cool to see him and Harry continue, and Harry to have, you know, kind of somebody in his family, even though it's not technically family. I mean, your godfather's your family as far as I'm concerned, and it would have been nice for him to have that. And to have that taken away as well was just, it sucked. And he was a great character, and I loved all his appearances. He doesn't leave in the 5th book. He leaves in the 6th movie. Anyway, doesn't matter when he dies, and that sucks. So, love his character, love every single scene that he's in. He's played so brilliantly as well, which added to the character, and that's why I put him on the list. Number 3. Professor Dumbledore. It's funny, when I first saw the series, I thought the second Professor Dumbledore, Michael Gambon, wasn't as good as the original one, Richard Harris. And as I keep watching it, that's changing. I actually like the second Dumbledore better than the first one, but that's a whole other story. Dumbledore as a character has just so much history, and you feel that he's the most powerful wizard. And he's just, I don't know, he's so mysterious, and I really love that. You don't know, you know he's seen a lot of stuff, you know he's super powerful, and he always kind of plays his cards close to his chest. You never know what he's thinking, but you always feel that he's one step ahead of everybody. He's just a really fascinating character, and somebody that really drives this series in an interesting way. He did have to die, I do think that, because he was maybe too powerful for him to survive to the end. But I love his progression, I love his storyline, and I'm happy we're getting to see more of him in the Fantastic Beasts series, because I do think there's a lot to explore there, and I'm very excited about it. So Dumbledore, yeah, definitely had to be on the list. Number 2, Lord Voldemort. I love horror, so obviously I'll gravitate towards the guy who's the most horror character in the series. I think he's one of the best villains of any movie franchise ever. I'm hard pressed to think of many who are up there with him. I mean, you have Darth Vader and a few others, but Lord Voldemort has a great storyline, and you really feel the progression from his first appearance in the first one, and then he gets reborn, and then he slowly gets his powers back. And I really like the mounting tension between him and Harry, which culminates in their final battle at the Battle of Hogwarts. And I just think he has the perfect, flow and the perfect villain, and it's just a great build-up to this final matchup. You have just enough of him to make the movie interesting, but not so much that you see too much of him. I think Voldemort's a great, great character, easily one of the best villains of all time, and yeah, of course, for that reason alone, had to be on the list, but not quite at the top, because number 1, Professor Snape. What can I say? Hans Gruber as a professor at Hogwarts definitely was going to be at the top of my list. I absolutely love Alan Rickman. So bummed when he passed away. I really enjoy this character because you never know what side he's on until the very last moment. He could be a good guy, he could be a bad guy, he's in between, who knows? And that makes his character so damn interesting. And he plays it so well. Alan Rickman is the man when it comes to this series. And the more you find out about him, the more interesting he gets. And it's just, God, I wish there was movies just about this guy. But maybe there shouldn't be, because the mystery adds so much to this character as well. You never know what he's thinking and what side he's on. It's just, God, his character is amazing. And he looks cool, and the way he talks and the way he acts is just, this is one of my favorite characters of all time in any movie. He is the perfect mix of mysterious and giving us what we want, but, oh, it's just, I love this character so much. I mean, Professor Snape easily was the top of this list. So let me know what you think of my list. Who are your favorite Harry Potter characters? I would love to know. Also, I'd love to know about your experiences at the Wizarding World, because I always want to geek out about my times at the parks. Next week, it's going to be our lead up to Avengers Endgame, so it'll be my top 10 favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe films. So don't forget to check out my other lists. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all on the flip side.